one of the best things about our emotional intelligence skill set is that every skill is supported by other skills. When we're stuck in this space of not enough, one of the biggest hurdles is identifying that our self-esteem comes from multiple spaces. Our belief in ourselves, our understanding of ourselves comes from multiple spaces. And when we attempt to utilize and address those spaces and still don't believe we're not enough, we have to be able to change the approach. Let's rewind this and take a look at it from an emotional intelligence standpoint. That feeling of not enough, the imposter syndrome of I shouldn't be here, I'm not good enough, other people are better than I am, other people are doing better than I am. It stems from the self-regard skill set. And there are 3 supporting players for the self-regard skill set. But let's just start at defining what really is self-regard when it comes to our emotional intelligence. It is the depth of understanding of the whole of who we are, which is knowing what our strengths and our weaknesses are and still having a strong sense of self, self-respect, self-love, self-acceptance. Sometimes we would just call this is our self-esteem, that no matter the situation that we are in, we understand our strengths and weaknesses, and our relationship with ourselves will always stay at a high level. So if I'm in a situation where I don't really know the lay of the land, I don't have a lot of experience or expertise, that doesn't mean that I'm not enough to be there. I understand I have weaknesses. I'm going to close those gaps. Similarly, when I'm in the arena of my strength, I also have a high level of self-esteem. So when we take a look at that sense of not enough, of imposter syndrome, we have to be able to take a look at something's off in our wiring, because despite proof, which is reality testing, of being in situations over and over and over again, of achieving the goals, of closing the gaps, of pursuing my growth and development, which is self-actualization, of taking the next step, hitting the next marker, I still don't believe that I am enough. And basically, you've been utilizing the problem solving in all of these very common areas that we would say, well, this is how you would solve imposter syndrome or a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-confidence. This is how you would do it. And what I'm saying is when these don't work, these common ones don't work, we have to look at how your problem solving is being limited. And perhaps even it's overlooking something that is a lot simpler. What if you were to just decide you don't want to feel that way anymore? What if you were just to decide, I do not want to keep telling myself that I'm not enough. I don't want to keep feeling like I'm not enough. I'm going to stop doing that. So hear me out. I've put this in practice for myself on a number of things that I've gone after in my own life that approached it through self-actualization and objectivity. Being able to look at my self-regard and self-esteem through these very typical ways, neurotypical ways of going at solving the problem of not feeling like I'm enough. And sometimes they move the needle in the right direction. And very often, some of those strategies even move the needle quite a bit, like mirror training, standing in front of the mirror and speaking reality-based, objective things about my attributes and values and strengths and experiences and achievements and what it took to achieve those types of things, a daily gratitude practice. These things all move the needle. And yet, every once in a while, I would still have the imposter syndrome, the not enough, seep in to my thinking, disrupt me emotionally, and send me into that spiral again. Over time, that got less and less, but it was still happening. And then I had this moment of clarity. What if I just decide in this moment, I'm not going to make myself feel that way anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm not enough. And underlying all of it is the truth that I'm the one that chooses to feel that way. And so if I'm the one that's choosing, can I just choose not to? And it turns out you can do that. So how do we put that into practice? Well, in this moment, you make a pact with yourself, the pact that says, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want to speak to myself in that way anymore. I'm not going to do that. And then every time it shows up, every time in your head you hear the narrative, which you're more than familiar with, your response pact is, oh, no, no, no. I already decided I'm not doing that anymore. It is incredibly surprising how powerful making that pact with yourself can be, that when you face it in real time, the execution of that pact in real time, simply by saying, no, no, I've decided I'm not doing that anymore, works.